Hey guys, in today's video, we're going to be making an equip and unequip weapon. So you'll be able to equip the weapon, and you'll also be able to unequip it. And yeah, that's all we'll be doing in this simple Unreal Engine 5 tutorial. Let's go. Before the video starts, make sure you have the Anim Starter Pack installed, and also you have the FPS Assault Pack installed as well. These are both free assets you can find in the Epic Store. Alrighty, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open the Anim Starter Pack folder. Then we're going to select all the animations. Make sure you're not selecting the levels or the blend spaces, the blueprints. Make sure you're selecting all the animations. Then we're going to go to Retarget, duplicate and retarget, just over there. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go UE4 to UE5. And then we're going to change the folder location. And we're going to change that to a new folder, which is going to be called Animations. This is just going to be where we're going to put all the animations. Then once you're done that, you can just click retarget. Make sure you're saving. This is just in case we have a crash. Then I'm going to make a new folder. I'm going to call it tutorial. This is just where I'm going to put all the tutorial assets. You can put these assets wherever you want inside of your project. But anyways, then I'm going to create a blend space. So under animation, and I can't find it. Under animation, we're going to go blend space. And we're going to go to the SK mannequin. Just like that. And I'm going to call this BS_armed. So then open that up. And I'm going to go to the name of the horizontal axis. And we're going to call that direction. I'm going to set the minimum value to -180 and the maximum value to just 180. And then we're also just going to tick snapping to grid. And then we'll call the vertical axis to speed. We'll set the minimum value to 0. And the maximum value will just be your max walk speed. So I'm going to make mine around 600 will do. And then we're just going to turn on snapping to grid. Next, we're going to go over to the asset browser. And we're going to search for the idle animation. This will be for the rifle. So we're going to put at the bottom of the grid, which will be where speed is 0. Then we're going to search for the walk rifle, which we're going to put in the middle, which will be about speed equals 300. And then we're going to search for the sprint rifle, and that's where the speed will be about 600. Now if you hold control, you have to preview each of the animations at different speeds. So now in the content browser, we're going to add another blend space, if I can find it. There we go. SK mannequin again, and we're going to call this BS_unarmed. Double click and open that up. Then we'll just do the same thing again that we did for the last one. So the name will be direction. And that'll be -180. 180. And we're going to snap to grid. Then it'll be speed. Keep that at 0. And then 600. And then also snap back to grid as well. Then we're going to head back over to the asset browser. We're going to search for the idle, and this will just be the normal idle. Then we're going to get the walk, which will also be the normal walk. And we'll put that back in the middle where speed is 300 again. Then we're going to get the run, which is going to be speed equals 600. Save it. And then back into the content browser, we're going to right click and add under blueprint and enum. And then we're going to call that E_move state. Then open that up, and under add enumerator, we're going to add 2. We're going to call one unarmed and the other rifle. These will just be the different animations. If you have, say, like a pistol, you'll be able to obviously add a new one. Then we're going to find our animation blueprint. Mine will be in content, and then character, and then mannequin, animations, and then there's my anim BP. I'm going to open up the mani. So then inside of the anim graph, I'm going to just open up the locomotion state machine. Then we're just going to delete everything that's already inside of here. We're going to add a new state. And we're just going to call it unarmed. Then off of that, we'll add a new state. And we're going to call this one armed rifle. Then you can add another line which connects to the unarmed. Then you can go ahead and open that. And we're just going to find the blend space that we created for the unarmed. And we're going to connect that to the output. Then just link that up to your ground speed variable. Then we can just head back to the locomotion state machine, into the armed rifle, drag out the BS armed, and then link the speed back up. Next, back in the content browser, we're just going to find the player character, which for me is under third person, blueprints, and then the third person character. Now this is where we're going to get our equip key, so find some space inside of the blueprint. Then we're just going to get the 1 key, which will be my equip key, which you can put whatever you want. Then off of the press, we're going to get a flip-flop, which just changes input every time we activate it pretty much. Then we're just going to create a new variable, call it e_state, or you can call it e_moveState if you would like. Then we're going to grab the e_moveState enum, which we created a while ago. Then we're just going to set the e_state variable. We're going to on A set it to armed, or rifle in our case, and then on B set it to unarmed. Then inside of the animation blueprint, we're just going to delete this cast node here, and we're just going to re-put a new cast node in, which will just cast to the third person character. So we're going to call cast third person character, grab that one, connect it back up to the initialize, and just connect everything back up. And then we're going to change that variable, which is character, we're going to change the type from character to the third person character. And also make sure you're just connecting this back up to the variable. Next go down to like below where the is falling variable is defined and get the character. Then we're going to get the state, which is the variable we created a while ago. And then we're just going to promote it to a new variable, just like that. And then we're going to add onto the sequence and just connect it all together like that. Next, just head back into the anim graph, into locomotion, and just go into the transition from unarmed to armed, and just grab the e state and check if it's equal to enum, and make sure it's equal to armed. Then just head back into the other transition and just do the opposite pretty much. Make sure the e state is equal to unarmed. Now in the content browser, we're just going to go to the animations and we're going to find the animation which is equip rifle. And we're going to right click that and we're just going to create a montage. Then head into the third person blueprint and just start to make a little bit of space. Then we're going to search for play montage and just make sure it's the normal play montage. We're going to duplicate that and plug it into the B as well. Then just plug everything back into each other. Then we'll go back to the content browser and find the montage we just made. Double click to open it. And now this part will be also personal preference. But you're going to find a point where he reaches for the gun. So just try and find a point where he's sort of reaching for the gun. And then we're going to make a notifier at that point. So right click, add notifier, montage notifier. Then go back to the third person character. Then we're just going to make a little bit of room, just, you know, whether on notify begin. Then we'll add a new component, and that component's going to be a skeletal mesh. We're going to call that gun. And where the reference is for it, we're just going to make that the rifle. And then we'll just parent that to the mesh. And make sure you're zeroing out the transform, so zero out the location and the rotation. And then click on the mesh and go to where its reference is, and we're just going to change that to Manny. And we're also going to change the anim class to ABP Manny, as that's the animation blueprint we've been working in. Then just go ahead and open the Manny skeletal mesh. And then just go ahead and search for the hand, and we're looking for the right hand for this. Right click the hand and we're going to add a socket, and then we're going to rename this socket to rifle. And then go ahead and right click that socket and just add a preview mesh, and then we're going to search for the rifle static mesh. Then up in the top left where it says preview animation, we're just going to change that to the BS armed that we've created. Then go to your rifle socket and just rotate it and move it until it sort of fits into your character's hand. Here's my settings if you'd like to just use what I've done. After that, we're going to search for the clavicle and we're going to use the right clavicle. Then just right click that and add a new socket to that, and we're going to call that rifle back. Next, right click the socket and just add another preview mesh, and we're going to add the rifle again. And again, just click on the socket and just rotate it and move it until it looks good on the character's back. And once again, if you like how this looks, you can just use my settings. Then heading back into the third person character, click on the gun and go to where it says parent socket, and then change that to the rifle back. And now your character's rifle should be on the back of him. Like this. Then back into the event graph, I'm just going to make a bit more room around the notify begin, because that's what we're going to use it next. And then off of the notify begin, we're just going to grab attach component to component, and make sure you get the one with the gun. Once you do that, grab the mesh and attach that to the parent. Then make the socket name to rifle back. And then you can select everything and then just duplicate it to the other side. Attach that to the other on notify begin. And then we're going to change the socket name to just rifle this time. And it's always good to just organize everything. Then back inside of the animation blueprint, we're going to disconnect the main state from the default slot. And then we're just going to add a cache, and we're just going to call it main. And then you can just delete the control rig and move everything up. Then we're just going to add the new cache we just made, which is the main cache. We're going to add that, and then we're going to duplicate it as well. And then from the bottom one, we're just going to get the default slot. Then we're going to make it the upper body. And then from the top one, we're going to get layered blend per bone. And then link the upper body into the blend poses 0 and link it all up together. Go into the layer bones, go into the arrays, add a new array, and then go into that and call it spine 01. And then something I forgot to do is make sure you don't forget this. Go into the montage, go to the default slot, and inside of default slot we're going to put upper body, and then just save that. And then just a quick note, inside the montages you have to do the animations, which I might have actually forgotten to do. Then inside of the skeletal mesh component as well, you're going to link that up to the mesh. And then just click play and it should be working. You should be able to get your weapon out and also put it back in, and it should also work whilst you're running as well. And all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss another video, and comment some of your suggestions on what you want me to post next. Thank you. Goodbye.